good morning, afternoon, and evening. It depends where are you on this world. And it's a huge pleasure to welcome you at this webinar about videography. I'm Gosia, and I'm a director of the Young Reporters for the Environment program. And I would like, on behalf of the YRE team that will host this webinar today, Riza and Saga, invite you to join the journey that we will have together for today. Our aim is to show you the short tips on how to create a good video for activities that you are running. And also we will also have an opportunity to listen a story from the students from Iceland who submitted last year a very interesting video about internet pollution, and they won the YRE competition. We think and we hope that this webinar will inspire you to share your video stories with us, or for the YRE competition, or maybe for some campaigns like the campaign that we are running together with UNESCO, the Trash Hack campaign. Also, if you have any questions or requests to us, you can find information about us on the YRE website, yre.global. And just I want to invite you to have to enjoy this meeting today with us. And Riza and Saga, I give the floor to you.
Thank you very much. All right, so for the workshop guidelines, if Saga, you could get to that page. All right, so workshop guidelines, I think we're all Zoom experts at this point, but just so you know, we will be recording this webinar, and it will be going on the YRE International YouTube channel. If you don't want to appear in this recording, you can shut off your camera, or you can leave, but we would love you to stay. And we would ask that you please turn off your microphones so that we avoid any interruptions as people are speaking. If you do have questions throughout the presentation, please put them in the chat. I just saw a question. We will not have a translation in Spanish at this point in time. And then lastly, if you would like a certificate of participation in this webinar, you can send a direct chat message to myself or to Saga. So with that, I think we can get started. We will be using Mentimeter for this workshop to try and make it a little more interactive. So the way this works, we need you to go to menti.com. You can use your phone, you can use your laptop, whatever device you're on. And then using the code that you see here on the screen, 8681810, to log into Mentimeter. I will give you all a few seconds to get into that. And just a reminder to please keep your microphones muted. All right. Next slide, Saga. So just to practice our Mentimeter skills, we want you to tell us how you heard about this workshop. So if you could log on to Mentimeter and quickly answer, how did you hear about this workshop? And then we'll dive into the fun stuff.
I'm wondering what other is now.
Social media, maybe?
Yeah.
A friend. The Menti code is All right, great. I see that we have 66 people who have responded. And with that, I think we can get started. So our speakers for today are myself. My name is Riza. I work for the YRE International team at the head office for the Foundation of Environmental Education. And my colleague Saga is here today as well. And we are also joined by 3 students from Iceland who participated in the Young Reporters for the Environment International Competition last year and won with their video. Guys, if you want to quickly introduce yourselves, that would be great.
My name is Axel Bjarkar.
My name is Hálfdán Helgi.
And I'm Sölvi Bjartur.
Yes, and we are from Iceland.
Awesome.
Czech Republic.
Okay, just a reminder to please keep your microphones off. So with that, Saga, do you want to go to show a little video clip of the video that won the competition?
Yeah. Maybe they could just say a few words about the video that they made.
Yeah, so we made a documentary that tells about the environmental impact of the internet, which we had never heard about before. And because we never heard about it, we decided to do a document.
Yeah, so yeah, we did that. And we submitted it to the competition.
And here it is.
Here's a clip.
Here's a clip for it.
The internet has changed the world. The ways we communicate, get information and consume media has drastically changed in a relatively short time. Although people all over the world use the internet on a daily basis, there's a side of the internet that is rarely mentioned, and that's the environmental cost of the internet. While large corporations are doing their best to lower their carbon footprints, there are things that you can do to help. You can turn off autoplay, use Wi-Fi rather than mobile data, watch content on smaller screens. Larger screens require more data transfer. Turn off Wi-Fi when you aren't using it. Check your inbox. Don't be subscribed to spam mail. Overall, you should spend less time on your electronic devices.
Right, that was a shorter version. Maybe it's good to mention that we cut the middle part, so that was just like the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
And if you do want to see the full 3-minute video that won in the YRE competition, I've added it into the chat, the link for YouTube, and you can watch it there as well. So with that, I think we can jump into the next section, which is just broadly kind of framing our context here today and the Young Reporters for the Environment program and the work that we do. It's very focused on solutions journalism, which is the idea that if you are reporting on things happening in the world, we would also like to hear the solutions. I think in everyday life, myself included, we all see a lot of kind of depressing images or videos that can make us feel a bit overwhelmed or hopeless or frustrated and not know how to act in a positive way. And it can be very encouraging if we see images of poverty or climate change happening all around us. So solutions journalism tries to counter this by focusing on the solutions that exist. So there are people who are already doing things to solve our world's problems, to solve environmental issues. And there are positive actions that we can all take. So as you saw in that video clip, a great thing about it is that they gave us a few solutions that we can take to cut back on our own internet pollution. And this is something that we really like to focus on from the Young Reporters for the Environment program by asking ourselves these questions of how are people already responding to problems? What solutions already exist and how effective are they? And then what actions can you take as an individual or maybe with a group of friends or your family to contribute to a positive change? So when we're talking about creating videos and telling stories and being young reporters, this is something that's very important to keep in mind, to try and show positive stories and solutions-oriented stories that maybe encourage people to take action and not only focus on the bad things happening in this world at this moment. So with that, Saga. We want to hear from you as the audience. In your opinion, you don't have to be an expert, but why do you think a video is a good way to tell a story? So if you can go on to menti.com and just quickly write a few words as why you think videos are a good way to tell a story, it would be awesome to hear from you. I will give you all about 1 minute to do that. Ooh, and unfortunately, I don't speak that language, so I can't translate. But we have keeps you engaged and makes you think about what is happening. Because a lot of people can watch it and get inspired from it. In a video, you could show a different perspective than writing. Moving images get your attention. More visual and can catch people's eyes. So videos seem to be a really great way to capture people's attention. That's maybe a bit more interesting or exciting than writing an article or taking pictures, which are also great ways to tell stories, but that's for a different workshop. Great, so we have 38 people. I'll wait till 50 and then we can move on to the next slide. $47. 50. All right, great. Sounds like you have a lot of awesome ideas. Thank you for sharing. And now we can move on to the next slide.
So, Videography 101. So all journalism tells a story. And it's a good idea to think of the story you want to tell before you start filming, even if you don't need to know what every scene will look like in your video. In fact, in documentary filmmaking, you cannot always control what happens on camera. So you do need to keep an open mind. But some questions you might want to ask beforehand is, what's the problem you want to find the solution to? Because green journalism is about creating awareness about environmental problems and informing viewers about possible solutions. But since many environmental solutions don't exist yet, you need to use some imagination. So be creative, but keep it realistic. But you also need to think about the basics of your story when you choose your topic. Who is this about? What's happening? When did it start? Where? And why is it happening? And how is it happening? And of course, how can we fix it? So perhaps our students from Iceland can tell us a bit more about how they found their topic and what made you want to focus on internet pollution?
Yeah, so Axel, you can tell us about that.
Yes, I discovered this topic by listening to a science podcast called Side Note Podcast, hosted by some scientists. They talked briefly about how Netflix was contributing to the environmental impact. And I thought it was insane because I've never heard about it. So when we decided to do a documentary, I pitched this idea, and I would like, I wanted to focus on it because, we all have interest in this topic, the internet. I suggest, you try to find a topic that you're interested in and passionate, because your project will shine in that way.
Yeah. So when we decided to do the film, we started to write and just finding articles online about this, about the problem. It was kind of hard to find something reliable, since there weren't many people talking about it. So we had very limited resources we could use. So, but we used a lot of our own calculations, and we talked to experts, and there were many things we did that are with. Yeah, so as Axel said, you need to find something to talk about that you have interest in, because if you're talking about something you don't have interest in, it will show in the end product.
Right. Thanks for telling that. I also want to ask the audience just to take a minute to think of what kind of story you would want to tell. Is there an issue you'd like to do some research on, or a local problem that you want to raise awareness about? In the same way that they found this internet pollution to be their subjects. I'll just give you a minute to think about it and write it on Mentimeter. Oh wow, we already had some. Oh, international wildlife protection. Pollution near my home. Climate change stories, sustainability issues. Plastic is being used in my school to avoid people from sitting down. There's a lot of local issues, which is really nice, because I think that's nice to see students engaging in their local communities. Wow, you have so many ideas. That's so great. Just give it a few seconds more for people to write their subjects. On mental health in environmental movement. That's a really interesting one, I think, and probably not a lot has been written about it. All right, around 50 people. I'll move on, but you can keep thinking about the subjects you want to write about, of course. So, now that you've thought about what story you want to tell, it's time to make a plan. So firstly, just write a draft of a script. It doesn't have to be perfect. So think about what you need to do, what needs to happen in this video that you want to create. Because this rough plan will help you get the right footage and also stay within a time frame. And once you have that, rewrite it, maybe even twice. And even if you want to have an open mind while filming, you can't change a plan if you don't have one in the first place. So it's always good to have thought things through. And after you've done a rough script, design a production plan. Think about production times, maybe draw some visuals to plan what you want to film, so-called storyboard. Also list some individuals you hope to interview and define your access strategy. It's also important to get your facts right. So look at the references you have. What research you found, and do you need to find more? And maybe even write a short list of notes on angles, camera placements, and scene descriptions that can be useful. It's also a good idea to check if you have the resources you need, crew, equipment, but Risa will talk a bit more about this soon. So first, I just want to quiz the audience. What should you not do when planning your video? See if you've listened. Yeah, I feel like people got it. You should research your topic. It's very important. So to the students in Iceland, maybe you could talk about what your planning process was like. Did it take long, or how many days was it before you actually started filming?
Yeah, so when we figured out what we're going to talk about, we started planning how we're going to do this whole project. So we thought about people we might want to interview, like you told earlier, and we actually we interviewed the
Minister of the Environment in Iceland. We met him at like a convention.
Yes, we went to a convention, and there was a television that the news in Iceland. They were there. So then we talked to the news about our project. So on the first day that we started doing this project, it was already in the news. So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
so we definitely most of our time was spent researching.
Yeah, research was like probably more than 50% of the time we had was just writing and doing research before we even started shooting or and anything. Because it's very important when you're doing a documentary to have your facts right.
Right.
Because, that's the whole point of a documentary, and also have have an open mind. Maybe you already have an idea about a subject, but it might change. So don't close any doors.
Yeah.
So we did this. We did our original film in 2 weeks, and when the first week was done, we got our script. Then we started shooting and taking interviews with people. There is one person in our school that is very big in the environmental scene in Iceland, and so it was very easy to get access to her and talk to her about this subject. Also, when we also needed to decide who is going to do what, because we can't just go all in and everyone. It's very important to decide who is going to do what. So we split it me and Axel did a lot of research, and me and Sölvi, we wrote a lot of the script. Axel did the voice recording. We edited. Sölvi did the the filming. So we just split it among us. So everyone was doing. We all had our own tasks.
Yes.
Sounds like a good plan. Right, thanks for that.
Yeah.
I think probably Risa will talk a bit more about what you just mentioned.
Yeah, so on that note, I think you guys did a great segue there. When you're making a video or a film or a documentary film, it's probably better to have a team. You don't need to do it alone. Clearly, you guys split up the work between yourselves with the filming and the producing and doing interviews, and of course, doing the research. I think it's great that you guys spent so much time doing research, because that is very important. You're absolutely right. So this is our recommendation for anyone who wants to make a video, how short or long it is, but that maybe don't do it alone, and that you can have a team with you, and that you can separate the work and take on different tasks and roles, maybe depending on what you're interested in specifically. Saga, can you go to the next slide? And then along those lines, once you have a team together to do all the work, it comes down to choosing your equipment. And we believe, as at the Young Reporters for the Environment program, that you do not need to be a professional video filmmaker. You don't have to have a lot of experience, and you don't need to have the fanciest, most expensive equipment. So 3 important things that you should keep in mind is you will need a camera, you need to keep in mind the lighting, and you need to keep in mind sound. But you don't need to have a professional film camera. You can use a DSLR camera or even your smartphone and use that to film footage for your documentary or your film. But the lighting is always important as well. And it's hard to fix afterwards, so make sure you always have good lighting when you're filming. And then also sound is important. If you have bad sound, that can ruin a film. So make sure you have a good microphone and that you test your microphone and possibly have extra ones. So those are some things to keep in mind. So for our students in Iceland, you guys kind of mentioned it, but what equipment did you use to do the filming? And were you using professional equipment? Did you have experience with video making equipment, or was this something you learned as you went through it?
Luckily, my dad is a professional photographer, so I was very lucky with the cameras and lenses and all that, and lighting. So that was we were very lucky with that. But it really doesn't matter what you use. You can always use your phone or something. Like you said about lighting, just have it well exposed so that everybody can see it. And then you can edit and color correct it and do proper.
Make it look good.
Yeah.
Super. Correct.
Yeah.
Saga, Saga, I think you're up now.
If you want to.
Just kidding. We have another.
So, yeah. No. Did you want to ask that, Risa, or should I skip it?
Sure. Another quick Menti question to see if you were listening. What equipment do you need to make a good quality video?
A good brain.
That is a great answer. Absolutely. You need to start with a good brain. Camera, microphone, lighting, microphones. A phone is enough. Absolutely.
Efficient batteries is a good one to remember.
This is true.
If you have your phone, you need to have a charger.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, it looks like everyone has gotten the basics of what they need to make a video. So take it away.
All right, so let's talk interviews. The students have already mentioned that they did some interviews for their video. And a good tip is to always do them first, actually, because it will help you to know what to film and might give you new ideas of where you want to take your video. So some quick tips for a successful interview is to ask open-ended questions. Just getting a no or a yes on tape isn't very good footage, and you could just say that yourself. So try to focus on feelings and not facts. And if you're filming the interview, get them to look at you, not straight into the camera, because it looks better. And try different frames. And like Risa already mentioned, it's really important to do it in a quiet place, because people can tolerate bad lighting or bad footage, but no one really wants to watch a video with bad sound. And also, while you're doing the interview, try to capture some B-roll, something else than just them talking. Perhaps walking down the street, answering the phone, or looking out the window. It's really important, so don't forget that. And a quick test for the audience. What should you not do in an interview? Let's see if you... It is quite obvious. Yeah, great. Thanks. So I also want to ask Sylvia Halfdan and Axel, even if you mentioned your interviews, maybe just go further, like how did your interviews go? Did you like them, or do you find them challenging?
Yeah, I think we found them, quite challenging because we're asking on such a odd subject. It was, I think the most challenging part of having the interviews was preparing our questions. It's very important to be prepared, but also, go with the flow with the interview, because who you're interviewing, will have some points that you maybe didn't think of. And so, yeah, we interviewed the Minister of the Environmental in Iceland and our fellow student in school. And I think they went really well.
Yeah. Did you get what you expected out of the interviews?
I don't really know what we expected, people are always like, they thought when we asked the question, because it's such a topic that nobody talks about, they were like, is this even a problem? They didn't really know that we're talking about the environment, because we're always talking about the internet.
Right.
So yeah, it was quite fun.
Nice. So that was some quick tips for interviewing, and now Risa will talk a bit about editing.
Yeah. All right. So after you've done your interviews, this question was actually already asked in the chat. What is BRoll? And we had a lovely participant answer it. So when you're putting together a video, you don't only want a video of someone answering your interview questions and talking. You're also going to need to have other shots and other footage of maybe the topic that you're addressing. And there was a great example, if you're interviewing David Attenborough, that you want to have the scenes of the rainforest in the background. So B-roll is just rolling your camera, so getting shots and scenery that maybe you will have a voiceover or a narration over on top of it, but it adds to the storytelling and it gives those visuals. So get shots of the scenery, close-ups of your interviewee, bookends and cutaways. So make sure you have footage and things to fill the space. And then once you have all of that, you can move on to editing, which is very important and quite a process as well. As you can see on the slide, there are a lot of free editing softwares that you can use to make a video and pull it all together. But before you even go into the software, we would recommend that you start with a paper edit, which means kind of taking notes and writing down all the footage that you have shot and everything, all the content that you have that you can use to create the final video. And editing can be very time consuming and a bit frustrating and a bit messy, but that's all part of the process. So don't stress too much about it. And then another thing to consider is adding music to your video or not, and making sure you have the appropriate music, I guess, because the music can make or break a video. And also always make sure you do not use copyright protected music. So if the music belongs to someone and has a copyright on it, you should not be using it for your video. But that's just kind of a general editing kind of tip. So to our Icelandic students again, what was your editing process like? Was it easy? Was it hard? What software did you use?
It was definitely time consuming.
Yes.
I'll say. You always gotta, make sure you have enough time for editing, because it's really time consuming, especially if you're really a perfectionist,
Yeah. What we did also, we bought the subscription to a service that has a lot of free music and not free, a lot of licensed music and videos, so we could use, as you can see in our video, there's a lot of footage that we bought it for like $10.
Yes,
all of it.
You definitely don't have to do it.
No.
We just, we found it really hard to find, footage, out in the wild that would capture what we were talking about. You don't have to do it, but it's handy if you use it. Yeah, so we edited for a couple of days. We definitely reserved some time because this was not our first time editing.
No. I would definitely recommend like editing with softwares you're used to using.
Mhm.
Don't download a new software and start learning from the beginning.
Just because it's like a
More
like a professional or something.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, honestly.
Yeah, you gotta when you're going to the project, you gotta be familiar with what you're going to do, you know, for editing.
And yeah, I would recommend, you know, something like iMovie or something.
Yes.
That's a very great software.
Yeah, absolutely. And your guys' original documentary, how long was the final product, and how many, I guess, hours or minutes of footage did you have to edit?
So our original is in Icelandic, and it's 12.5 minutes, I think. We had to for wiry we had to make it 3 minutes, so it's a
So we
really
edited it.
Yes.
Again.
Quite a process.
Yeah. It must have been mega footage.
We had I'm not sure how.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Probably like 2 hours of footage or something.
Yes, and then a lot of additional that we got the license for.
Yeah.
Wow, very cool. Quite a process. All right, thank you for sharing. Saga?
Thank you.
So let's say you've created a video about an issue you care about. What next? Where can you share your story? Maybe just submit some. Where do you think you can share them? So we have YouTube, Instagram, social media, social media, local news outlets. That's a good one. TikTok, it's a new one. See if we get anything else. Newsletters, WhatsApp, social, local news, school. School is a really good one, actually. Local news. Yeah, local events, also a really good one. Movie, CapCut. Yeah, so those are really good suggestions. The most important thing is that you share your video so people actually can watch it. And one option is, of course, if you're in the wiry competition, it might be shared there as well. But share with your family and friends, host a little screening maybe, and especially with your school, engage your teachers. And if you're taking photos or something, you can have a photo exhibition or put up posters. And just engage with your local community, I think, is the best part. But of course, social media is a super great tool for sharing, especially videos, I think. So again, our students from Iceland, do you want to just tell us? How did you share your story?
We originally uploaded it to YouTube. It was kind of ironic because we're talking about the internet pollution. Yeah. But it had to be shared somehow. But yeah, so and I think it's a great way to tell your friends and family about it, because that makes you go a long way as well, because you don't have to share it all by yourself. You can share it to people who can share it to people, and that way you get into circulation, you know.
Yeah, so our video started just getting into circulation first. Then when we won the national competition, then media started using it on their websites and something. So it's just we also created posters for it, which we hanged them up in our school
and also posted them on social media as we had to. It was in the project that we had to advertise it.
So we did like Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Which is I think that's a very smart way to get people to know about your project.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube is the way to go, I believe.
Yeah, because I think even if you don't get in contact with your local newspapers or radio or anything, we heard from you and other students in YRE where people have just shared on social media or YouTube, and people find it and share it on, and they get to go on television or radio shows. It's really cool. So it's a great tool.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Lisa?
Yeah, so with that, we're kind of coming to the end. Obviously, that was a lot of information about video making 101. But before we go, if there's any questions that you have, or any final thoughts, I guess, from Axel and Harlan, if you have any ideas or final things that you want to say about your experience making this documentary, would you do it again?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's very fun. We definitely want to do something else, some other documentary. It's a process. It's very fun. Do we have any advice?
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, I find it very important to talk about something, or the subject is something that you're passionate about because your project will be so much better, you know. If you have no interest and you're just talking about it just to make a documentary, it's not really gonna go anywhere, is it? You know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and also remember, you have to have fun while you're doing it, because I think that's honestly one of the most important things. If you're not having fun, the project will not be fun to watch, I think.
Yeah. Believe in yourself and also be realistic, you know.
Yeah,
it's a mix of it.
Yeah, you can all, yeah, don't shoot too high, but also you can shoot high, but not like too high. Something which you can, yeah, do.
Awesome. That is great advice. Have fun and be realistic.
Yeah.
All the audience leaves us. We just want to know what you have gotten out of this webinar. What did you learn? So there's another Menti question, our last Menti question of this session. If you can just jot down 3 things that you need to make a good video, or something that you learned, we would love to hear from you. Overall, I think the comments are very positive so far. I want to thank the audience for showing up, and of course, our 3 YRE students from Iceland for agreeing to participate. I think it was very, very great to have actual students who have created a documentary be able to share their experience with everyone. This webinar will be posted on YouTube so that you can watch it again afterwards. And then see all the resources in there. If anyone has any other questions, they can put them in the chat really quickly, and we can try and answer those. But it looks like people have gotten some good ideas and hopefully some inspiration to make their own videos going forward.
There was also some question about free tools to use the music. If anyone or maybe the students have some suggestions how to find the free music sources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a couple ways which you can find free music. I found this one YouTube channel. It's what's it called?
But it's
Technoax or something, which uploads free royalty music.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say?
But it's really easy to find if you just search around on the internet for free music, and also what kind, you know, what are the feelings that you're trying to have on your movie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it definitely makes sure that they are royalty free.
Yeah.
Because you can get in big trouble if
if
they're not.
Search royalty free music and you'll get like a lot of it. So
a lot of options.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think the same goes as well for images, like pictures. If you want to use them in your video, you can also search like copyright-free or royalty-free pictures. There's sites. So
there are a lot of websites which are just to find royalty-free images. So it's
absolutely. Best is if you go take the pictures yourself, though. We love everyone's own pictures.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's important to add at the end the sources of music and the pictures. So there is no question about ownership of the story that you are telling.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great. So on that note, thank you to the audience. Thank you to our speakers. If you want more information about video making, you can go to the YRE website, which is www.yre.global. You can check out our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're always trying to post things, useful tips for people to make articles and take photos and create videos. So you can follow us on social media. Thank you to everyone for joining.